Welcome everyone to today's integration event featuring FeeX and Panoramix. On Tuesday, June 8th, 2021, Panoramix and FeeX jointly announced the fruits of their product integration in a press release. Today, we present you with the answer to the question, why should I care? Our agenda today is simple. We'll talk a bit about each product, why the integration between the products is so beneficial for the advisor, and we'll wrap up addressing questions applicable to the wider audience. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet today's presenters. First up, Dave Goldman, Vice President of Business Development at FeeX, followed by Chris Hastings, CEO of Sapphire Software Services Inc., makers of Panoramix.
Joe, thanks so much for the introductions. We're really excited for the partnership and the data integration with Panoramix and how this can help our advisors be more successful working with clients and trading and managing held away accounts. So let's talk a little bit about FeeX. FeeX is a platform that actually empowers advisors to trade and manage their clients' 401ks and other held away accounts. We've learned by working with advisors over the years that their clients really want them to manage as much of their wallet share as possible, assuming there's a solution for it, right? Notoriously, 401ks, 403bs, and other held away accounts have been out of reach for advisors to provide full service on. The way advisors have been handling this in the past is really one of two paths. So most advisors are providing some sort of free advice on these held away accounts. And what we're really trying to do is bridge that divide so advisors don't have to go through this process anymore. The way this works today is advisors will have to go through this very cumbersome back and forth process with their clients, collecting statements and providing recommendations back to their client. This creates a lot of responsibility for the client. It creates additional fiduciary risk for the advisor because it means that they're using very partial data to provide these recommendations, which is still a fiduciary recommendation at that point. And it also provides a lot of risk on the compliance side because there's no real way to monitor their activity or to supervise this activity or to document it properly. So we found that advisors are really trying to help with these assets, and it's critical that they do. There's actually research, there's an Aon Hewitt study that shows that professionally managed 401ks outperform client self-directed accounts by 3.3% annually net of fees, right? And what that means is that the advisors are really creating long-term alpha for their clients by truly trading and managing these accounts for them. So again, it's a little bit of a broken process the way advisors are doing this today. A lot of back and forth, a lot of hassle and frustration, an imperfect system, and it creates a lot of liability for the advisors. The other way advisors are solving for this is they're actually taking it a step further and they're logging in and taking client credentials and taking custody, and they're working with the clients to actually trade these accounts, but taking on a tremendous amount of compliance risk on themselves and cybersecurity risk on themselves by doing this, right? It's not that there's anything wrong with this approach, it's just that it's a lot of process and a lot of security that needs to happen to do it properly. And it's very rare that an advisor would have the infrastructure in place from the security standpoint, a trading standpoint, a multi-factor standpoint, and others to make sure that they're actually doing this properly. So again, logging in is a solution for advisors that truly want to manage these accounts for their clients, but they're bringing on that cybersecurity risk. It's still inefficient for the advisor. They're going one account at a time, trying to review and rebalance these accounts. There's no compliance or supervision workflows built into this process since it's all manual. There's no audit tracking capabilities. Again, very time consuming. And then you're subjecting yourself, once you take client credentials, to surprise audits and to custody reviews, which is something that you do not trigger under the use of the FeeX platform. The FeeX platform, as I mentioned, it really allows advisors to provide full service solutions on these accounts. Manage and trade 401ks, again, without triggering custody. And we really act as a secure platform that removes all of these barriers for the advisor and for the client so you can be comprehensive, right? Advisors are constantly talking about being holistic. And it's really difficult to be holistic if you're not providing full service management on the entirety of a client's portfolio, meaning their 401k, their 403b, and other held away accounts. Being able to do this not only creates that alpha that we discussed previously, but it also deepens the relationship with your clients and creates additional stickiness in these relationships. Advisors are working with clients and clients are asking for help with these assets, and advisors haven't had a great solution to date. In addition to providing this better retirement outcome for your clients, it also helps eliminate rollover conflict down the line. So what we're finding is that advisors will charge their level fee for managing the held away assets and the directly custodied assets. And what that means is that down the road, when your client retires or decides to switch jobs, you don't have a conflict in determining where their assets should be held when you're managing them. If it's great for the client to stay in their 401k, that's also fantastic for you. You can keep managing that account and you'll still charge your level fee. And if it's better for them to roll over, then certainly you can recommend a rollover and the client can roll over and you can continue to work with them in the same capacity in that IRA. So the process is pretty simple from the advisor standpoint. It allows you to be full service. It allows you to be proactive on these accounts, which means that instead of waiting for the client quarterly meeting, annual meeting, the client to send you statements, the client to implement their own trades, which might happen a month or 6 months or never when you're making recommendations, it allows you to actually provide a full suite of services around these and therefore justify your standard fee. And the way it works is it's basically a 3-step process. So the client permissions access. So there's a connect phase where the client's actually going to connect and authenticate their account. From there, the advisor has the ability to review the account. We provide a very detailed analysis of the client's account. So we're going to show fund changes in the plan. We're going to show the current holdings. We're going to show the full menu of available investments, including private fund and CIT data. And then once you've done an evaluation of your client's account, you have the ability to go in and actually trade and rebalance the account through our platform, again, without taking custody. A couple more points that I think are important to touch on. Most of our advisors were giving some sort of advice or guidance on these assets before using our platform. There's also, as I mentioned, a contingency of advisors that were logging in and trading these through a very cumbersome and manual process. We see that on average for firms that were not managing these accounts before, they have the ability to grow their AUM by about 33% from their existing client base. What's remarkable about this is that these advisors are going back to their clients and they're explaining they can now manage and trade full service their held away accounts. Almost 90% of their clients are actually signing up for that full service offering at the advisor standard fee, right? So again, there's demand from the client side and it's a huge opportunity for advisors to grow their AUM and form deeper, more meaningful relationships with their clients that'll again benefit the client in the long run for retirement. So why don't I pass it over to Chris and he can talk a little bit about the Panoramix side of it, and then we can talk about how we work together from a data perspective and from an integration partnership perspective.
Thank you, Dave. Hi, I'm Chris Hastings from Panoramix. Our tagline is simple, really. We do billing and performance. That's where we focus our energies, and those elements remain what we do best in terms of software delivery. That said, we do a bit more than that, and I'll show you some of that along with the billing and performance overview. However, what we really pride ourselves on is customer service. A lot of companies talk a good game about customer service, but we really do feel we live and breathe customer service, and we are proud to have been ranked first in customer satisfaction for the last 3 years in the annual T3 advisory survey. In terms of overall user experience, Panoramix is centered around 3 primary dashboards for day-to-day client and portfolio management, with all functionality exposed via an office-like menu and ribbon icon structure. A common question is, what kind of help is available? In addition to a growing list of in-application on-the-spot help links, Panoramix Help menu provides access to an extensive library of topic and orientation videos, system documentation, recordings of our quarterly webinars, and even some bloopers. Panoramix automatically updates with each new release, and we'll do 16 of those in 2021, but in case you missed one, you can always get the latest from the Help menu. When you start Panoramix, you land on the advisor dashboard, shown here in one of 100 different ways that you can configure it. With dozens of different tiles and options for both the number of columns and the number of rows within each column, you can truly own your advisor dashboard. In fact, each tile contains a widget, and many widgets themselves are configurable, so the possibilities are endless. As with the advisor dashboard, the contact or client dashboard is likewise flexible, with 17 of its own tiles displayable in a configurable number of rows and columns. These tiles and widgets focus on the client's portfolio, documents, and CRM elements such as notes and tasks. Flexibility is king, and each advisor can tailor their client screen to show exactly what they want to see. While a bit less configurable, the portfolio dashboard still offers plenty of options, and its left-to-right tree structure lets you drill down and easily go from account to holdings to transactions. As in the contact dashboard, the portfolio dashboard has its own menu bar below the ribbon. Here you can do things like view a transaction blotter, look at a performance summary, or recompute month-end numbers.
Panoramix has your billing covered from both a collection and a payout standpoint. Configure and use fee schedules for accounts or households, or simply set an amount if you don't need to use the tiering features of a fee schedule. You can set up billing cycles if you want to break up your billing. Global settings may be overridden at the household or account level. You can give a grace period to an account with billing start dates. You can apply additional fees with each billing cycle, or they can be applied one time, or they can be applied annually, which is useful for financial planning fees. Full audit trails for fees, refunds, and discounts are available through comments, which you may elect to display on invoices or statements. Fees may be a percentage of value or flat dollar amounts, as can additional fees. Bill your qualified accounts to non-qualified accounts or held aways to an actively managed account, however you'd like. Invoice clients directly or debit their account directly with files exported from Panoramix, or in the case of Schwab, via the custodian's API, meaning you can get paid at the click of a button. Panoramix also helps you calculate the money going out in our payout section with an unlimited number of payout schedules where you can set up multiple payees with several breakdown options. You can also avoid doing the math up front by assigning one recipient to receive the remainder of the fee. Let's take a quick look.
With tools for setting billing overrides at the account level or the household level, plus tools for performing mass edits to all or selected subsets of accounts in your book, Panoramix makes it easy to configure your billing. When it comes time to run your billing, Panoramix is all about flexibility with nearly 500,000 possible combinations for how you want to run your billing. We don't think there's a reasonable scenario we don't support. And with asynchronous processing enabled, you can run your fees and go do other stuff in Panoramix while it runs in the background. We'll let you know when it's done. Most advisors find that billing goes from being an Excedrin headache number 12 to being a breeze. Let's take a quick look at a payout schedule. In this example, Joe is going to get a flat fee of $50. Chris is going to get 10% of the fee collected. The rep assigned to the account is going to receive 1/3 of the fee. Sean is going to get 1/2 of 1 basis point, and then the firm receives the remainder, whatever that may be. Panoramix supports all of this, so won't you be happy that you don't have to do that math on your own? Performance, my favorite. Panoramix ships with over 50 parameter-driven reports. This slide shows the parameter list for our most popular report, the Portfolio Snapshot, and the resulting output based on those configuration choices. Note that we can always compute performance 3 ways in Panoramix: a basic rate of return, a time-weighted return, or a money-weighted return. We have 90 baked-in benchmarks and allow you to create custom benchmarks of your own that may be blends of the built-in benchmarks or some other fixed benchmark. You can adjust benchmarks to mirror portfolio cash flows, and you can establish different benchmarks at the account level if you so desire. On this report, the columns may be configured to represent a variety of time periods from previous months, prior years, or all the way back to since inception. Charts and graphs are optional. Reports can be configured in report groups and combined with PDFs for such things as newsletters. Reports can be generated for individual clients, associated households, your entire book, or some defined subset of your book. Report groups may be saved locally inside of Panoramix to the client portal, distributed via email, or exported to Dropbox or an FTP site using a variety of secure protocols. I could talk a lot longer about the features in our multi-custodial platform, from our client portal to the lowest price in the industry and all that lies in between, but I won't. But I will call out just a couple though. Panoramix contains a great deal of data, and we expose it all through 16 different blotters, including one that examines performance across your book in a GIPS compliant manner. We handle some key compliance issues such as RMD calculations, and we have a Schedule 13F tool that can export the exact file structure and content needed by Edgar. And we built a suite of integrations, including the one with FeeX, which we are quite excited about. We feel that the two products complement each other nicely. I will send it back to Dave to talk about that.
Thanks again, Chris. Yeah, it's important for us that advisors have the ability to work within the platforms that they're accustomed to. We want to make sure that you're getting a full service solution here, which is why we partnered with Panoramix to build this data feed integration. From the FeeX side, we're passing daily data to Panoramix for any of the accounts you're trading and managing through the FeeX platform. We actually go through a reconciliation process before we do so to make sure that the data is quality and scrubbed before it actually hits their platform, so the advisor is getting great quality data as well. But really important, you're an advisor to the client. You're not an advisor to an account. And it's important to remember that what that means is that all of their accounts, their entire portfolio, their entire household needs to be able to be considered as a holistic or panoramic view. The ability to asset locate across portfolios, the ability to build allocations across portfolios and actually implement those allocations. Your ability to review and view these assets through our data feed, not just in FeeX and seeing the available list of funds and seeing all of the available options and details, but then seeing them with the rest of the client's householded assets on Panoramix is critical. You can trade and manage these accounts without taking custody, then you can report, bill, client portal, and everything else you need to through the Panoramix platform. And that completes the entire solution for advisors. And that's really why we think that the integration made sense. We heard from a lot of advisors, this becomes a meaningful differentiator for their business as talking to clients about trading and managing held away accounts, and then having it part of the client invisible household portfolio reporting and billing in the existing system that they're using. Chris, any thoughts you wanted to add here?
Advisors are looking for, as everybody likes to use the buzzword, holistic or a panoramic view of their portfolio so they can do the allocations properly. That, as all the things you said, you can get a better risk assessment, you can do better goal tracking and financial planning. There's dozens of reasons why you want to have the whole view of a client versus just one. And for an advisor, it's relatively easier to get data from a custodian or some other data source that the advisor is the advisor of record on. However, to truly service your clients, you need to have access to the entire client's portfolio. And being able to get that held away data incorporated into the rebalancing and financial planning is crucial. And we feel that FeeX fills that gap much better than anything else we've seen. From our standpoint, it's a much cleaner and more accurate technology than a typical aggregator and well worth the cost. FeeX focuses on actually managing the account rather than just displaying information. And I think that's the key differentiator. And that's why I think that we are seeing a lot of our advisors coming to us because they want to go with this technology. I think it's just a much better paradigm.
And we certainly agree here. It's actionable. And I think that's one of the key differentiators. We're really focused on held away accounts that are manageable. And again, I think the adoption rate we're hearing from advisors speaks for itself. These clients hired you, they wanted to work with you, they're willing to pay for your services. It's kind of a bug that they didn't have the ability to receive full services on their held away accounts, and that advisors were going through oftentimes many, many hoops and kind of partial solutions for held away accounts, when for your clients, these assets are just as critical. So making your service levels even and equal and your fee schedule even and equal because you're providing comprehensive services across all the accounts makes a meaningful difference, again, not just to the advisor's business, but to the client's retirement account as they look to you as their subject matter expert and kind of their champion moving these accounts forward.
Absolutely. Joe, back to you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's just take a look and see if we have any outstanding questions that we need to get to.
I have one question that came in that said, is there a cost on the Panoramix side? There, typically for a data feed in Panoramix, there's a $9.95 setup charge and then $500 a year annually. And we are waiving that for the rest of the year for FeeX, so no setup fees or no annual charge on our side.
Hey guys, this is Dave. I am seeing a question about account types. So what types of accounts can be managed through FeeX? General rule of thumb, if the account cannot be moved or should not be moved, it can be managed through our platform. So what that means, cannot be moved, you'd consider an active 401k, the client can't roll it over. Should not be moved, you might consider like a variable annuity with a large surrender charge. We see a lot of advisors managing the sub-accounts through there. But more broadly speaking, any account that has an end client login, so basically a website that the client can log in and there's funds that can be traded through that client portal, is supported through our platform. So 401ks, 403bs, HSAs, government TSPs, variable annuities, 457s. We see all of those types of accounts on the platform. Great question.
Another question came through on the ability to build these accounts. Panoramix does have the ability, so with FeeX, of course, you can, you have the account, you can manage the account, you can trade on the account. All of that data flows into Panoramix, and then you can bill on it in Panoramix. we actually create a standard flat file to give to a custodian, which is probably not the direction you go, but you also have the ability to send out an invoice in Panoramix, so you could actually invoice the client for that account, or you can actually bill it to one of your traditional accounts at a custodian and then just tack it on there. So not only can you get all that information for billing purposes, but you can actually bill it several different ways.
All right, I'm seeing another one. Can FeeX be used on self-directed brokerage accounts? So yes, very much so. We see these accounts not so often, but I think they're available in about 10 to 15% of 401k plans, and they're also a common use case on the FeeX platform. A self-directed brokerage account is basically a broader menu of available options within a 401k menu, and we support those and see them on the platform.
All right, so I don't see any other questions coming through. I think we answered all the ones that came in. Dave, did you have another one?
Yeah, I saw this one just pop up, sorry. When is the integration available? So the integration has been live, and it is certainly live for you if you're a client of both FeeX and Panoramix. Reach out to your respective teams at both FeeX and Panoramix to get the feed established quickly for any accounts you have managed through the FeeX platform.
To all of us here, would like to thank you all for your most valuable time and attention today. We do hope that you found today's presentation valuable and useful, and that you'll consider both FeeX and Panoramix as part of your technology suite going forward. You can find out more the websites that are listed here, feex.com and panoramixfinancial.com, as well as there are some contact emails on this slide, partnerships@feex.com and info@panoramixfinancial.com. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.